Thank you very much. Crime, as you know, is a serious sociological phenomenon that has been with us from the beginning of the existence of man and even before that. For those who are familiar with the Bible, it is said that even in the holy place in heaven, one of God's greatest angels, mightiest angels, Lucifer, challenged therein the authority of God to the extent that he had to be cast out of heaven by Michael the archangel. And the records read that when he was cast out, he ended up here on the earth, and there's no record that he left here to go anywhere else. So we know. Even in heaven, there was antisocial behavior, challenges to authority. So it is written. And then, of course, God pronounced upon us, and then we had the creation of Adam and Eve, and the story is set in the Garden of Eden. And God again gave some indictments, some intonation, some instructions for man, and told us we can roam the earth, we can have of all the fruit, but you see, that one, do not partake of it. And there it was, according to the biblical writing, Eve would have persuaded Adam, no aspersion on Eve or the females, just the record. And Adam ate of that fruit, and so God pronounced that we would thereafter live by the sweat of our brows. And manna will no longer fall from heaven, and we will no longer be able to see and speak to God the way we did in the garden and thereafter. And then, of course, they bore a child or children, Cain and Abel. And it is further recorded that Abel made sacrifices to God that pleased God tremendously. And when Cain, his brother, saw that, rather than level up to Abel's standard, to be like Abel, to please God and win God's acclaim, what did he do in his ordinary humanness? He became envious of his brother Abel. And rather than level up, he devised a plan to kill his brother, and he did. Yeah. And the book records that that was the first time in human history that the earth tasted human blood. And as I speak to you today, in Trinidad and Tobago, we have recorded, haven't yet come to the middle of the month of May, but over 200 lives have been taken at our brother's hand. And we are all perplexed by it, troubled by it, afraid of it, living abnormal lives, not enjoying the freedom that God intended for us, not enjoying the freedoms that the Constitution and the law of this land intended for us. I saw videos up to yesterday and this morning of some of our young brothers across this country, inspired by foreigners who just visit with whatever motive we don't know, and they're displaying guns and threatening each other, one gun against the next. And while all that is happening, you and I as innocent bystanders get caught in the rush. Children, women, and how complex this thing is. Because we have institutions of the state which were designed to stand in the gap between that kind of antisocial and criminal behavior and the peace and safety and security for all of us. But this thing is so complex, you see. All crimes are sins. But not all sins are crimes. It is a sin to hate, but you won't get arrested by Mr. Chabini for that. It is a sin to be envious, but he won't arrest you for that. It is a sin to bear murderous contemplations, but you won't get locked up for that. You have to do more. So all crimes are sins, but not all sins are crimes. Adultery and fornication are sins, but you won't get locked up for that either. I know some women here would say they should lock up the backside, but some men will say too. But the point is, this thing is very, very amorphous and very complex, because it stems from the nature, the sinful nature of the human being. And therefore, it is no surprise. Human beings as they are, law enforcement personnel, politicians, lawmakers, national leaders across the globe, whose responsibility it is to protect you and I from crime. Some of us fall prey to the sinful nature of the human being. Take bribes, get involved in all manners of things, victims of crimes ourselves. I only say that, young people, to demonstrate how complex this thing is. And from the outside, it might appear to be like switching on and off a light. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts with a very open mind. Because the book also says, out of the mouths of babes and sucklings cometh wisdom. And in fact, I've spoken to many young people around this country from whom wisdom flowed. So I'm looking forward to the debate, intense as I expect it to be. And I have come with my notepad to glean from it any useful ideas that I would certainly operate with, because you live in the world of youth. I told my son last evening, and this is true, I can go for a year and a half, 2 years, this is not an exaggeration, without hearing a bad word, obscene word. That's true. And I think for 2 reasons. One, while I'm on social media, this thing about, what is the thing, the algorithms. You get more of what you look at. And the more you look at it, the more you get in. Isn't that right? But I don't look at cuss word at all, so none don't come on my phone. The minute I hear a bad word, I switch off. Whether it's in a song or otherwise. Some of the movies, and a couple of years ago I was trapped in a vehicle traveling for about 5 hours in the United States, and they put a movie up, and I have never forgotten it. The star of the movie was cuss, and the co-star was gone. It was only cuss word and shooting. Which is what a lot of our young people are being fed so subliminally. This is what they know. It's like second nature. So if you hear a little child popping out a bad word, it's not always deliberate and intentional. It's just that it's part of this thing. Am I speaking the truth? But I don't get that on my phone. I just get Bob Marley and Peter Tosh and Buddy Wailer and them kind of Rasta man who quote from the Bible and inspire my soul in those ways, and others. Sparrow and Kitchen and all of them old-time Calypsonian. A little Dublantan, a lot of smut and thing, but they put it over so beautifully you can still ingest it and enjoy the thing. The other reason why I don't hear too much bad words and so on is because I must tell you, and I told my son that in a conversation last night, I don't present myself in the places where that is likely to be happening. I don't go in no bar and sit down to drink nothing. I heard the Prime Minister say, and I direct this to you young people recently, that liming, in the context of the crime onslaught that we're experiencing, and the fact that we could be innocent bystanders just so, the Prime Minister told us some time ago that liming in Trinidad and Tobago, culturally entrenched as it is a serious, risky business today. I accepted that. So I ain't going to hang no place. You know, you young people like to call it hang. One time my daughter told me she wanted to go and hang. But I got so mad. I can't understand it. But when I was a youth, I too used to hang. But at this point now, I don't understand it. Because when you get to this stage, time is so precious. You know, at my age now, I consider, the book says, 70. with modern medicine and thing, if the book has to be written, it might say 4 score. People are averaging a little 81, 82 now. I'm not criticizing what God had written, but that's okay. But if it's 80, I would have already lived my first quadrant of 20 years. I would have already lived my second quadrant of the next 20, taking me to 40. I would have already lived my third quadrant, taking me to 60. And at 68, I consider if I'm going to 80, I have 12 years remaining. You think I can afford to one hand? You think I can afford to waste time when there's so much to be done? I want to tell you all, at this stage of my life, I sleep about 4.5 hours a night, including last night. There's so much work to be done. And for you, for whom 2/3 of your life is yet ahead of you, you have better reason than me to run at all full throttle. Don't waste your money, the little bit that you have access to. It's a sin to waste money. And it's a bigger sin to waste time. Because when it falls off that conveyor belt like the Niagara Falls, when it travels on the floor of the fall, and it drops over, it disappears for all time. Never, ever, ever to come back. So today is the 11th of May, 2024. There will be another 11th. There will be another 11th of May. There will be another Saturday, 11th of May. But there will never, ever again be a Saturday, 11th of May, 2024. Once it's gone, it's gone. So you have a precious gift of time and the future. And I think it is well utilized in the engagement you have here today. And I'm looking forward to hearing you. I'm looking forward with great anticipation, wishing all of you competitors particularly well. Good luck. God bless.